Hey, this is Venger Satanis. How's it going? There's so many people in the old school fantasy gaming community that are doing awesome, amazing things. Just on their own, on a small scale, very independent, very do-it-yourself. And I decided to follow in their footsteps a bit, and I created something which I'm going to talk about right now. It's a total of 4 pages, so what you get is, so there's this page, which is a random dungeon encounter table. Basically, I think what I like to see are 3 basic core elements in a module, or like an old school fantasy D&D type adventure or scenario, or whatever you want to call it. The first is just, basic D&D nostalgia, kind of normal concepts. What I mean by that is typical things you would expect, maybe borderline cliche, but definitely with its own spin on it, so it's not like, you've seen it once, you've seen it 1,000 times, but still recognizable, D&D type fantasy tropes that, you would ordinarily expect. Something predictable, and then you take it and you tweak it a little bit, and it becomes unpredictable and cool and new and weird again. So that's number 1. Number 2 is like a puzzle, or a trick, or a trap, or a riddle, or make sure my earrings are straight. Okay. Otherwise it clinks and I'm like, go down, annoying. So yeah, basically, something to make the players and their characters think and reason things out, try new approaches, something out of the ordinary, a challenge that's not just combat related. And then the third one is just something weird, unnatural, strange, eldritch, etc. Something that's completely out of the ordinary, something that's utterly unknown and just bizarre. Hopefully all these 3 sort of work together, and there are little bits in each. Like there should be something slightly bizarre in an encounter with orcs, just like there should be something normal fantasy in like a riddle or something. A riddle being asked by a dragon, something like that. So it all kind of meshes together. So anyway, I created this table where you basically roll a d4, and then if you roll a 1, it's on the classic D&D nostalgia table, and then number 2, it's on the puzzle, trick, or trap table, and then number 3, the something weird table, and number 4, you either choose 2 or you randomly roll for 2 different elements and then just combine them into one encounter. And so basically, if you really wanted to, you could just do like a small dungeon crawl or something if you had absolutely nothing else prepared, and just do like this. But specifically what I made this for is if you're playing a pre-published adventure and you just need to either beef it up a little bit, or you want to inject a few additional rooms or encounters. Like let's say you get to almost the end of an adventure in the last session that you had, and now coming into this session tonight, let's say you're gaming tonight, you figure in about an hour and a half the party is going to clear through the rest of the dungeon, or the tower or keep or what have you, and there's just, then that's it. Then you have to figure out if you're going to cut the session short, or you're going to leave the rest of the time for maybe leveling up and role-playing in the town, or if you're going to sort of switch gears in the middle of the session and go into the next hook for the next adventure. But let's say you just want to keep it going. You just want to extend it from an hour and a half to like 4 hours or something like that. Well, you could use something like this and just keep going. Or you just want to add something new and fresh. Basically, that's all it is. And then, so there's the tables on side one. And then there's the small dungeon with something cool. I'm not going to totally give that away, on the other side. And then on the second double-sided page, there's just stats and whatever for the encounters mentioned in the random table. And then there's a pretty cool double gemstone table. Yeah. So basically you roll, like, let's say the treasure that you encounter from the encounter, you have some gemstones. And you're like, oh, well, these could be anything. So, you know, there's a table for rolling and seeing what they are. And not only what they are, but their size and quality. You know, there's a small chance if they're cursed or magic or something like that. So, you know, I fit that on here too because I had some extra room and I thought that was just a cool little neat thing. Now these, as I'll show you down here, these are limited edition. I only made 23 of these. So this one, for instance, is number 1 of 23. And I dated it February 22nd, 2013, and I signed it. And, you know, the same thing with its companion one. This is of the second page, or part B. This is 1 of 23, same dates, you know, signed at VS, Venger Satanis. Now, I did this for a couple reasons. Oh, and then I laminated them. The main reason is that I think something like this, well, of course there's a limited appeal. I mean, not everybody's going to be like, oh my god, you created like a little table and, you know, you wrote some shit down. I must have it. I must. You know, I don't expect or anticipate that to happen. But some people might be interested in it. And I wanted to keep it a limited edition because, you know, the old school gaming experience for me is about non-standardization. And if this were, not that it would be, but if this were produced like far and wide in thousands or hundreds of copies or whatever, then it would lose some of its pizzazz, some of its cachet. It would then become mundane or ordinary in a certain sense. It would lose some of its exclusivity. So I think by keeping it a limited edition, a limited number of copies, and I'm not going to make any more, you know, I basically sealed the originals for archival purposes, and it's just done. These are the originals right here, and I also used some fancy orchid colored paper. So yeah, if you wanted to order one of these or get one of these, you'd be like, you know, I'm going to keep one and probably going to give one to a setter to a friend, so you'd be one of like 23 or 22 people or less. If, you know, I have a lot of them for sale and they don't sell or whatever. So you'd be one of the few people that have this, which is kind of neat, I think. It gives it a little extra coolness factor or value, because it's, you know, it's not everywhere. It's a little more unique. So anyway, I'm selling it for $10. You could write me, you know, it's like a certified bank check or something like, or, you know, money order. I would just prefer like $10 or 2 5s in cash. You know, just conceal it in a double envelope or something like that. Anyway, whatever. We can talk about that. So just privately email me or message me if you're interested, and I'll give you my address, and, you know, I'll give you one, or, you know, sell you one, whatever. So for $10, you get both of these, and when I get to, I sell like 11 or 12, I will have broken even. And at that point, I'm going to start thinking about maybe another set, something completely different. Maybe similar in some aspects, but it could be completely divergent and off the rails. I don't know. And I have no idea if this is going to be cool or, you know, I think it's cool. But I don't know if people are going to respond to this or people are going to be like, that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard, Venger. Go to hell. That could happen too. But I was, you know, mainly I started off doing this for myself. And then I thought, well, this is kind of cool. You know, I bet some other people would like this too. And, you know, I showed it to one or two people and they're like, oh yeah, that's kind of neat. You know, it could, you know, I might use that too. And so I'm like, oh, why not make this cool, like, limited edition thing like some old school gaming fantasy people are doing? And, you know, spread the love a little bit. Just make some, you know, it's kind of nice to receive something that's homemade, something that I made myself, not for, you know, financial purposes, but just because I love it and I'm passionate about this kind of stuff. I like creating. I like sharing my creation with other players in my gaming group and other dungeon masters out there in the world. I think that's neat. I probably paid too much for the lamination. It was $2 per lamination and like 11 cents per copy. So I probably got ass raped there. I just wanted to do it without shopping around a million different places. I just went to the Kinko's and paid $2 per lamination. And yeah, probably got ass raped. Oh well. So anyway, that's why it's $10. I would also, if you wanted to make something yourself, like similar to this, and laminate it or preserve it somehow so it doesn't get ruined or Mountain Dew spilled on it or something, I would totally take that and trade. In fact, I would love that. That'd be better. If you wanted to make something like this, you know, spend some time and made some cool, handy, old school fantasy gaming reference, and then sent that to me, you know, absolutely, I would just send one of these to you, and that's it. You know, no money has to change hands, and that would be perfect, ideal. But assuming that most people don't want to do that, you know, it's going to be $10. That's it. This is probably like a 50 million minute video because I feel like I've been going on and on and on. So I'm just going to end it here. If you have any questions or anything, or want to give your feedback, just comment down there. That's it. Yeah, Cthulhu Photography.